Prince Charles showed a moment of warm affection towards Kate Middleton today at St. Paul's Cathedral when he blew his daughter-in-law a kiss as they met. Once the Prince of Wales and Camilla had arrived for the service of Thanksgiving, the two met with William and Kate before they walked together to their seats. On previous occasions, Prince Charles has been seen greeting his daughter-in-law with a kiss on both cheeks, but today cameras captured the sweet moment when the heir to the throne gently blew Kate a kiss, as they met. However, the Prince of Wales was not seen greeting or interacting with his other daughter-in-law Meghan Markle, after royal aides carefully managed the seating plan to keep Charles, Camilla and the Cambridges separate from the Sussexes. Harry and William have had a long-standing feud, while Harry has accused his father Charles of cutting him off financially and Meghan claimed an unnamed royal made a comment about Archie's skin tone before he was born, with the Sussexes having a war of words with the palace following last year's bombshell Oprah Winfrey interview. It was the first time Harry and Meghan, who now live in California, had been on full public view alongside the Windsors since they quit the monarchy for a new life in the US 2 years ago. Kate is known to have a warm relationship with her father-in-law and has reportedly helped smooth the sometimes fractious relationship between the heir to the throne and his son, William. The Duchess was warmly welcomed into the family by Charles after her engagement to William, and she's been heard affectionately calling him Grandpa in public on previous occasions. For today's service, Kate opted for a sunny yellow dress by Amelia Wickstead, teamed with a matching hat with floral adornments. However, there was no interaction captured on camera between Prince Charles and his younger son Prince Harry at today's service. The couple were kept apart from Prince William, Kate, Prince Charles and Camilla after royal aides ensured they sat on the other side of the aisle, and they later left separately. The Sussexes did not attend a reception straight after at the nearby Guildhall, which featured a series of other royal family members and politicians including Prime Minister Boris Johnson and Home Secretary Priti Patel. Buckingham Palace officials took great care to try to avoid a repeat of the frosty scenes when the Sussexes and Cambridges sat near each other and left together at their last joint event in March 2020 at Westminster Abbey. And aides would have been delighted that today's service in front of 2,000 guests passed without any such incident or negative optics given the attempts to ensure today was about the Queen and her 70-year reign. Kate and William chatted to Prince Charles and Camilla inside the cathedral, but there was no sign of the same rapport with Harry and Meghan, who sat in between Lady Sarah Chatto and Princess Eugenie's husband Jack Brooksbank, and were under strict instructions to keep a low profile during the event. Harry and Meghan walked down the aisle of St. Paul's hand in hand after the service, joined by other members of the royal family and following Charles and Camilla and William and Kate, but did not appear with them outside. The Sussexes turned to talk to Lady Sarah Chatto, who had been sat next to Meghan, and her husband Daniel Chatto. Senior clerics waited to bid the congregation goodbye and Meghan shared a joke with the Archbishop of York and touched Harry's arm as he joined the conversation. The trio then laughed before the Sussexes moved on. How Prince Charles and Kate Middleton's bond has become more apparent in the past year, with sweet greetings at public events. Prince Charles and Kate Middleton have shown several public signs of their close relationship over the past year. In April 2021, the Duchess shared a kiss on the cheek with her grief-stricken father-in-law as they left Prince Philip's funeral. Kate consoled Prince Charles as the pair walked out of St. George Chapel following the emotional service in memory of the Duke of Edinburgh. Photographs show Kate comforting the Prince of Wales over the loss of his father by putting her hand on his shoulder. She then kisses him on the cheek as they set off from the entrance of the chapel. Prince Charles had earlier been visibly emotional as he walked in the procession. And in June, the Duchess of Cambridge lovingly called father-in-law Prince Charles grandpa when she greeted him at a G7 reception. Kate used the family nickname while speaking to Charles at a reception at the Eden Project, in Cornwall. Meanwhile, in September, she attended the James Bond premiere alongside her father-in-law, greeting him with a close embrace as they met at Royal Albert Hall in London. Members of the crowd outside St. Paul's sang the national anthem while they waited for the royal family to leave at the end, before Charles and Camilla were the first to walk out as the bells began to toll at the end of the service. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge followed, with Kate waving cheerily to the crowds while chatting to her husband. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex left holding hands and were seen chatting to Zara Tindall and her husband Mike. Both Harry and Meghan shook hands with the Lord Mayor before getting into a car. During today's service, there were smiles from the Earl and Countess of Wessex as the Archbishop of York referred to the Queen's love of horse racing, while the Princess Royal nodded her head in approval. The Archbishop of York said the Queen was still in the saddle, as he thanked her for staying the course. In his sermon at St. Paul's, the Most Reverend Stephen Cottrell compared the monarch's well-known love of horse racing to her long reign, suggesting it reflects the distance of Aintree more than the sprints of Epsom. Mr. Cottrell told the congregation, which included senior members of the royal family, he was sorry the Queen could not attend, but glad there is still more to come. He said, "It is well known that Her Majesty likes horse racing. I don't have any great tips for the Derby tomorrow, but since the scriptures describe life as a race set before us, let me observe that her long reign reflects the distance of Aintree more than the sprints of Epsom. Certainly, less dressage than most people imagine. But with endurance, through times of change and challenge, joy and sorrow, she continues to offer herself in the service of our country and the Commonwealth. Your Majesty, we're sorry you're not with us this morning in person, but you are still in the saddle. And we are all glad that there is still more to come." In his address, the Archbishop said the best leaders are those who know how to be led and lead for others, not themselves. People whose heart's desire is to serve the common good and build up the common life. Who don't try to do it all themselves, or act in their own strength alone. People who take a longer view, and who seek out places of replenishing, even places where they might learn the mind of Christ, he said. I say this today, knowing that in Her Majesty the Queen we see an example of this kind of service, a staunch constancy and a steadfast consistency, a faithfulness to God, and obedience to a vocation that is the bedrock of her life. The Queen missed out on the service this morning, due to episodic mobility issues that she's been experiencing. Buckingham Palace revealed Her Majesty greatly enjoyed her birthday parade and flypast but did experience some discomfort. Buckingham Palace said, "Taking into account the journey and activity required to participate in tomorrow's national service of Thanksgiving at St. Paul's Cathedral, Her Majesty, with great reluctance, has concluded that she will not attend." The Prince of Wales and Duchess of Cornwall arrived at the reception and were greeted by the former Lord Mayor Sir David Wootton and Colonel Simon Duckworth. They were then followed by William and Kate. It is understood the decision ahead of the service, which was at 11:30 a.m. today, was considered regrettable but sensible due to the length of the journey and time involved and the physical demands the service would require. Senior members of the monarchy attending this morning also include the Duchess of Cornwall, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, who will be joined by the extended royal family. Tributes were paid to the Queen's 70 years of faithful and dedicated service in front of 2,000 people, including Prime Minister Boris Johnson, cabinet ministers, Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer and former prime ministers. Public service was the theme at the heart of the religious event, with 400 people who are recipients of honours, including NHS and key workers who were recognised for their work during the pandemic.